Okay, so we got a Neustrashimy replay. So this is probably like a, you know, hey, what could I have done? Sure, DD replay against CV. We can look at that. Absolutely. I don't know why. I'm feeling awake. Maybe it's the caffeine. Maybe it's the Advil. I have no fucking clue. Maybe it's the pain. Wee. All right, so we got Happy Teddy in the Neustrashimy against a Midway. It's a 4DD game, so God knows that can be chaotic as hell. Plus, you've got some radar, you've got a Salem, you got a Talin to be aware of. Okay. So first things first. I want you to notice one of the most powerful assets that the Neustrashimy has. 5.6 detection is extremely low. And even more extreme than that is a 2.4 aerial detection, which is incredibly fucking low. Why is it incredibly low? Let me explain this real quick. So when you are rocketing something, when you use rocket planes, you got your planes coming out, whatever, they're coming in on a DD. They need, you can actually pretend this is the rocket plane. This is the cursor for the rocket plane. So this is its little targeting reticle. The distance here is usually about 3.5 to 4.5 kilometers away. If your destroyer has a 2.4 kilometer aerial detection, how do these planes put this reticle on you to see you? This reticle, what that means is if you click at this button as your planes move forward, this is the point where your reticle is dialed in. That's what the reticle means. If you speed up, it's going to push out further before it gets dialed in. If you slow down, it's going to pull back some. So you could theoretically pop this and pull it back and try to get it on there, but 2.4 is so aggressively fucking low that the thought of even being able to try to rocket you is just maddening. And further, most of the rocket planes can... How do we do this? Most of the rocket planes, when they come in, they're coming in this direction. Then they start an attack run, they can slam on the brakes and they can hard wrench to a 90-degree turn. So if your DD is over here at 2.4 clicks and you're spotted or whatever, they can use this turn to bleed time because they're going to have point A to point B before they can shoot. There's like a 4 second warm-up time. They can use this to bleed off about a second and a half of that time so that they shave down the distance that it takes for them to be able to broadside you. So this is worth knowing, but the only way this is really going to happen is if they're close enough to see you and then they're able to cut hard turn, and you could simply just turn out. You have that option. Or hell, you could turn in and get underneath their guns because they take a certain amount of time to warm up before they can shoot. So that's why you'll see rocket planes sometimes overshoot a DD. And lastly, one other thing, and this is also very important, is server delay. So here's your computer wired to the wall. Here's the power lines or digital, whatever the hell. And then here's the server off doing whatever server shit it does. So if your destroyer has a detection of 2.4, planes are going to come in, and right here, the game will say detected. You'll get the little, you'll get the little exclamation point, or you'll get the little plane thing. On the mini map, you'll probably get an icon for the CV. They'll probably get an icon that'll show you. They do not see you yet because your computer now is going to say, "Hey, I see this thing." And the server's going to go, yes, you do. And it's going to respond with a check mark. And then after X amount of time, you're actually going to appear. And that distance is usually about 0.3 to 0.5 kilometers. So your actual spotting distance, if they're coming at you, is not 2.4. It's about 1.9 to 2.1. So you are extremely invisible to rocket planes. Bombs can stick to you close enough, but rocket planes, really no. It's worth knowing before we continue. All right, so first thing you did was full speed. Why is that important? because the first thing a CV is going to do is a spotting run. They're going to come over, and they're going to go to a flank or maybe down the middle, and they're going to find something. And they're going to find something to either shoot. If they're damage farmers, they're going to shoot the first thing they see. If they're not damage farmers, they're going to come and they're going to find something and move, etc. Until maybe they trip over a DD. What is the first thing that happens when you full speed away from your team? You increase the space between you and your team. So if planes come down and they trip across you, your team is that much farther away because big ships slowly accelerate, that you're going to have, like right now, you are 5.6 kilometers away from a Monarch. You're probably about 4.8 away from a Kurfürst. You're 5.6 from a Henry. Average AA is about 6 kilometers. So if you continue moving and these planes come over and happen to spot you in the next 20 or 30 seconds, and they decided to go after you for whatever reasons, maybe it was bombers, so they can see you and they can do whatever, you have no support from the Kurfürst, the Henry, or the Monarch, or almost no support. So if you're in a DD and you're in a CV game, you can slam it full forward. You might not get your shit called, kind of like bluffing in poker. You might get away with it, but if the DD gets found by the enemy CV and you don't have any real support to help bully those planes away, then it's just your little shitty AA pop guns against however many damn planes the CV brought, and guess we're gonna have fun with this. So don't be afraid to start at half speed. For the first 30 seconds to a minute, you'll see where the planes are, and then you go, oh, they're on the other side of the map, it's fine, you can speed up. Or, and he didn't see us, and now you can speed up, and they're gonna go off and continue their scout. Okay, I actually want to run that back, so I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to reload this replay. I'm going to run that back because I want to know what happened there. So I have to do that. Got to close it a different way. Because I was going too damn fast. Well, it turns out that the CV did spot you right off the map, but the question is, did he spot you and then you opened fire, or basically, why did you use AA? How did you use it? That's essentially what I'm going to be looking at. Just speed it up. All right, so planes are going to appear pretty soon. You got planes. Saw planes 1915. They breach. Your AA is on. The enemy now knows where you are. We just talked about what that 2.4 aerial detection can do. How extremely hard you are to find. And your AA is on. You immediately showed yourself to rocket planes, and rocket planes shoot broadside targets. They don't do very well nose or ass in. And you right now are completely broadside to these rocket planes. So if the first thing he does, because he's like 4.5 kilometers away, that's more than enough time for him to see you, aim, and hit you. But I think this guy, it's still going to take like half a second. It's still going to take a second before your ship renders. So right now he's seeing bullet tracers. He might not actually see you yet. This says detected, but it still takes a while for you to appear on the screen. And I think he ends up turning and bailing for some reason. But right now, this, leaving your AA on like this, you can hit P to turn the AA on and off. Leaving your AA on this is like literally saying, I'm okay losing 5,000 health. Midway's rocket planes aren't that accurate, but they can be. Realistically, this right now means you just lost 5,000 health. Okay, so it turns out he's turning, which is cool. Fletcher opened up as well, because fuck it, I mean, y'all are found, so hey, whatever. You pop priority sector. What does priority sector do? It deals percentage damage health. So if there's 100 planes, you just kill 5 of them. Well, in this case, there's 9 planes, so you kill 45% of a plane just by hitting that button. Any additional damage you do, you know, it's like you did basically 1,200 damage with a single button press, and then you're hitting for like 50 or 30 damage, 30 damage, 30 damage. So using priority sector, super powerful. Sitting with priority sector on after you've hit it, not so powerful. Because if we watch, you're doing 100s, 30s, stuff like that. Well, you're using your defensive fire. Cool. But you're not doing much damage at this range. So AA is math. If an enemy plane has 2,500 health and you're hitting for 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, that's going to be 25 ticks. That's 2 or 3 seconds to kill a single plane. So yeah, you have defensive fire, but you should use defensive fire where it's going to be used best. So right now, telling the enemy CV, I'm over here, shoot me, you might kill a plane, but you're telling him where to shoot. Because right now he sees you, but your aerial detection is 2.4. If you just turned off your AA, he doesn't know where the fuck you are. Why do you have defensive fire? What could you use it for? Well, obviously, if you're trapped somewhere and you need to use it, fuck, you got it. But let's say you guys are like, you're hanging out and you see torpedo planes coming for the Kerr first. Pop defensive fire. Shoot some damage into some torpedo planes. Help your Kerr first, bro. Maybe your flak hits a torpedo plane. That's what it's going to be more useful for. It's not there so that your 30 damage becomes 50 damage, because planes have 2,500 health. Alright, so you doing some damage to the midway, cool. Still letting them know where you are. Ultimately, the midway fucks off. So you got lucky on this. You should have lost health. Alright, so you turn off your AA, cool. He's coming back. Well, another thing is, because of that server, the rendering delay, when you hit priority sector, you could hit priority sector and immediately turn your AA back off, and there wasn't enough time for the game to actually render your ship. You might appear on the minimap as a ghost, like a last known position, but no player actually saw you. So you can just hit it and turn it off. Bam, you just did 1,200 damage. Get fucked, CV. And then after 15 seconds, whatever, if he happens to be around and you're still not spotted, bam, get fucked, CV. It's only when, if you look at the AA values on the Neustrashimy, it's when you get into medium range, when you get into short range, that those numbers actually start to be meaningful. Because it might be like 50 damage a second out at max range, but then when you get to like 3.5 kilometers, maybe it's like 200 damage a second. When you get to like 2 kilometers, it ratchets it up to 350 damage a second. 350 damage a second, a lot more than 30. So it's worth, you know, kind of looking at what am I doing when I'm adding in damage. Anytime you can hit priority sector, free damage, absolutely worth it. But in terms of when do you leave your AA on to do something, you need to make sure that you're making a calculated decision, because you're giving away your location. Obviously, if he's within 2.4, you're spotted anyway, so hey, who fucking cares? Just, you know, you turn it on. But when he leaves the 2.4, turn it off. Okay, so let's look at map positions right now. You guys have all 4 DDs in the center, which means there's no DDs watching this flank, there's no DDs watching this flank, so this could potentially be bad. This could be battleships eating a shitload of torps and getting murdered, and then you're just kind of stuck in the center while the flanks get wrapped and then you get wrapped. So ideally somebody else should be out here, but at the same point, you and a Neustrashimy, this is your jam, dude. Being in a place that's the contested area, you can get bombed, rocketed, shot, torped, you can have all kinds of shit, because your heal is just stupidly strong. Like 9,000 healing on each heal, and you can have up to 3 of them if you spec for it. So this is absolutely the place you want to be. It just really sucks that nobody else is actually watching the flanks. Okay, right here, you got torps coming for, hell, I don't even know what the midway's looking to torp, but you don't have to pop defensive fire, but you can priority sector, turn it off. Just priority sector, turn it off. And these 9 planes with 2,500 health each, that's 22,000 give or take. Bam, you did 1,100 damage for free. And you killed basically half of a plane just by hitting the button and turning it off. You didn't even light yourself. Okay, so you're opening up because he's going after a friend. Cool. You might get some flak. The guy might end up getting nailed. He's taking 75, but you're helping. Realistically, was the Midway actually going to hit any destroyer? Probably not, but nobody called you to task for it, so hey, you got to get some plane kills, you got to do the thing. Fuck the CV, you know, fuck the man. So cool, worked out in your benefit. Ow. I think you go dark when the lightning goes dark, yeah? You do, nice. Good torps. Here's the thing. I think I just heard him pre-drop, so he might actually be lower. So you took a shot, you're spotted, lightning has seen you, you're seen recently, Midway just tried to torp DDs, he's now coming out with bombs. These bombs are coming for you. Your defensive fire is on cooldown. You do have a smoke, but let's look at what support do you have. So those bombs, 2,500 health each, there's 12 of them. So like that's 27,000 damage worth of plane damage to actually get them off your ass. Well, if he comes to bomb you, he might interact with some Kurfürst AA, maybe. Not going to be interacting with Fletcher. Maybe the vampire turns AA on, maybe the Edinburgh can see it. But if it comes down to it is only you that can fight off these bombers, you might have to smoke. Or else you're going to lose a lot of health. You're going to be spotted, the lightning's going to shoot you, you might get bombed, that could hurt like a bitch. If instead of being here, you were down here, you're still holding the cap, you could still end up fighting the lightning if the lightning showed up, but you have a wide arc of covering fire from the Kurfürst, potentially a decent arc of covering fire from the Edinburgh. And then suddenly it's not you against 12 bombers, it's 3 of you against 12 bombers. Are they still going to be able to drop you? Sure, once, maybe twice. But without that, he might be hitting you, spinning around, hitting you, spinning around, hitting you, potentially even spinning around, hitting you. Depends on, you know, what's happening. It's worth paying attention to. Yeah, you want to be in the middle. Yeah, you want to be contesting the cap. Do you have any friends that can support you if the CV comes after you? If not, you do have a smoke. But if you don't have a smoke, if the smoke is down, you need to position in a place where the CV just can't live on you. Yeah, he's probably going to light you. Yeah, he's probably going to attack you, but he can't live on top of you because there's enough AA. There's like, AA is math. If the 3 of you together are doing 500 damage per second, that's a plane kill every 5 seconds. If you're doing more than that, then it's even faster. So plink, 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 plink. The timer is ticking, the planes go away. You pop the smoke because you see it. Cool. Turned on your AA as soon as you were dark. Awesome. No luck on the lightning. He probably has Hydro going. Vampire gets out. You juke torps. Woot. So if it wasn't for the bomb threat, you didn't have to smoke there, but you did. If you were, instead of being in this position, if you were down here, you might actually have just like baited the bombers in. Take a shot, leave your AA on a little, and then turn it off, and then the CV comes over and starts eating 3 or 4 different ships worth of AA while looking to bomb you. Then you're basically just baiting planes over to die. Because you still would have had your smoke if you wanted to use it. You didn't have to. Huh. Hey, fucker. Yeah. Oh, buddy. Okay, so this right here, it's really easy to get caught up in what you're doing. So it's not always so easy to get to look at what you're doing, but also pay attention to all the shit that's going on the map. You know, you have your defensive fire here. The Edinburgh is being torped. Edinburgh is at full health right now. We'll see if he ends up eating torps, if that matters. You could, theoretically, as this guy was coming over, because he came all the way over here, he dropped a fighter, and now he's coming in on the Edinburgh. You could have had your AA going. Because, I mean, you're shooting. You're lighting yourself anyway. And nobody's in a position to be able to shoot back at you. All the enemies are dead over here. Everything else is blocked by this island, which is why you're kind of taking pop shots. This would be a great time for defensive fire and trying to give some cover to a teammate. So, you turn it on. Torps are gone. Edinburgh gets clocked. Edinburgh gets dead. Now, the Edinburgh got taken out by the Yamato, so it wasn't taken out by planes. Unless you're, unless you're incredibly superpowered flak puff from defensive A just murdered all the planes, then yeah, he probably stayed lit and died to the Yamato anyway. But that is something that's worth consideration. Just because your AA sucks, because it's a destroyer, doesn't mean it doesn't help. And when multiple people are helping, things get done faster, the enemy planes die faster, the enemy planes do less. More of the enemy planes go down, which means there are less enemy planes in the future. That's a good kill. You could be helping here. You would spot yourself. You do have a smoke if for some reason that's a super issue, but you do have a Fletcher vampire that might also be shooting as well. And if you don't use your defensive fire, take the free shot, turn it off, you will go dark if you don't want to just keep yourself lit. But realistically, he's bombing, he's already gone up to come down to bomb the Fletcher smoke. So this dude is busy for the next roughly 10 seconds. Because after he bombs, there's an 8-second reload window. So, I mean, if he's going to come over and spot you, he's going to be on top of you, whatever. But right now, you could at least take the free shot. But you're going to defensive fire. Once you defensive fire, you have to leave defensive fire up. Because if you turn off your AA, defensive fire goes down. But we can see as you're getting closer, you're doing 250, 250, 250, 148, 148. You know, it's hitting super fast. This is where the defensive fire shines. Using it all the way out at max range, not so much. But when you start getting to close range, that's when it starts feeling shit. Okay. I think this is actually working out pretty well for you. The way he was coming in, I do believe you're pretty broadside. One thing to know, and you might actually be fixing this, but still, I'm going to show you this really quick. Okay, so this is a bombing reticle. It's kind of like top down, whatever. And we'll pretend this is a DD. This is literally like the size of the DD compared to the bombing reticle. That's what it is. So the bombs can fall anywhere in this reticle, so they might hit the DD. They might, but they might not. If this DD is sitting still, this is the only part of this bombing reticle it takes up. But if you think of the bombs are going to fall slowly or, you know, fast enough, whatever. They're going to fall from point A to point B. And if your ship is this high, then your ship can be hit from here all the way down to here. So let's say that's like 0.2 seconds, which is not a lot, right? But if your DD is power sliding, then the DD's hull over that 0.3 seconds is this big because it's sliding from left to right. So the bomb could hit at the top of its hit, and the bomb could be missing. It's going down, it's falling, it's falling. Oh, you rescued it. You dinked it with the side of your hull, and you catch it. So you go from having this profile to having this profile. So if you're power sliding during a drop, you are basically doubling the aerial profile. You are helping the enemy CV kill you. So what this means is, by all means, turn, juke, speed up, slow down, do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. But when you hear those bombs coming, straighten out. Don't give them free damage. Just cut the rudder, bleed straight, cut speed, do whatever you want to do. Just don't slide across the reticle, because you're going to slide across 2, 3, 4 bombs. And all of a sudden, that's a huge, huge fucking oof. Cool. Didn't take much damage. Nice. Defensive fire runs down. Cool. You could turn off your AA. So you just, no, you didn't there. You did reveal yourself briefly. Theoretically, that might scare one of these guys in terms of torps, but whatever. You're gonna chuck some shit. AA is up. So 3 destroyers. Destroyer AA sucks. All right. 100 damage a second. It's 2,500 health. 25 seconds a kill. 100 damage a second. 12.5 seconds a kill. 100 damage a second. 8 seconds a kill? 3 DDs, even if they have shitty AA, if they're playing together, if they're hitting priority sector, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. Well, okay, that's like a plane and a half that's dead. And then you're hitting for 300 damage, chisel, chisel, chisel. Even if the AA sucks, the fact that it combines can make it very powerful. So being here, being able to support each other against the big bad CV man actually is not shit. Sometimes it might feel like, wow, my AA is nothing, but again, if one person is cleaning the kitchen and then you got 2 people cleaning the kitchen, it gets done twice as quickly. If you have 3 people getting the kitchen, it's even faster. Even DDAA stacks up. Some of it's just absolutely fucking abysmally terrible. But in general, Fletcher AA is functionally okay. Your AA is fine. I have no idea what the Vampire 2 has. If you didn't want to be spotted, I mean, granted, you're all ripping into this, so it's fine. Plus, you could also dodge into smoke. But if you wanted to, you could cut your AA and you will instantly disappear. Unlike Gun Bloom, when you cut your AA and you are no longer aerially spotted, because with your AA on your AA, your aerial detection blooms out to your AA range. As soon as you cut it, it is instantaneous. Within half a second, you go dark. So right there, once the planes had gone, maybe, nice kill. Once the plane had gotten, 2.3 away, cut your AA. As soon as it's 2.4, you disappear. You take half as many shells there. That being said, I mean, if you don't kill the planes aren't dead. So, sure. But do remember, within 2 kilometers, you're doing 200 damage. Within 4 kilometers or 3 kilometers, you're doing 150 damage. Outside of that, you're doing like 30. So as soon as the planes get further and further away, you're dealing less and less. So you're revealing yourself for less and less gain as the planes are leaving away. Cool. Coming in with Torps on a DD, that's fucking nothing. Although he might be looking for the Monarch. No, he's looking for the... Okay. So that's pretty cool. You did not use your defensive fire. You hadn't committed, so you knew he wouldn't stick with it. You do have your heal on reserve. Bismarck's definitely a thing. It's good to keep your smoke to protect an ally, protect yourself, protect whatever. It does feel like the enemy has a pretty significant health lead. This might be a good time for you to smoke and just farm the Bismarck. Light him on fire and shit. Cool. Vampire jukes, doesn't matter, the Bismarck is dead. Rocket planes, you just lit yourself. Planes are coming in, they're within AA, you should already have priority sector to hit this. Is it gonna stop it? No. Is it gonna take 5% of its health away? Yes. You should already have it going, already doing that thing, and hopefully you're paying attention so that you don't eat rockets. Okay, a little late. You get shot, you lose about 2,000 health. Okay, taking some big hits over there, because, I mean, you lit yourself, you shot. Bombs come out, that's perfectly okay. You don't see them, but maybe the other destroyers will. Or even better, the enemy CV can light them for you. Got defensive fire going, cool. And the fighters are dead. Helping out the vampire. Can't, well, you might be able to start shooting the Monarch with guns as he comes around the corner. But you're able to start ripping into the Salem, which is frankly the better target because it's the scarier one. Neustrashimy guns. Really accurate. Not enough. Alright, so 2 planes. 2 planes doesn't mean shit. You probably kill one before he even shoots you. And you do. So yeah, it does fuck all nothing. Salem is still scary though. And yeah, this guy's running completely on fumes. This dude's just got nothing at all. Heal. Don't be afraid to have your heal running while you're being shelled. Okay. Alright, well, he's 4.7. There was a time, I think, where the Salem couldn't actually see you. Yeah. I mean, you're up a lot in terms of points. So I think that was actually more you just By the power of YOLO, I mean, fuck it, let's kill the Midway. Unfortunately, there was a Salem that cock-blocked you, so it is what it is. Salem could murder your vampire and your Fletcher, though. That could be a real problem. Hey. Fletcher's low. Salem takes mid, eats Torp, dies. Yeehaw. You wanted the AA expert. Oh, well, sure. So, Natch, just as a question, first off, thank you very much for submitting that. Because I'd wanted to do kind of an in-depth replay using a destroyer. But was any of that helpful? Was any of that new to you? Was any of that useful? Hopefully, yes. Your AA is reduced if you're sharing it, isn't it? No. I think there was a time where Wargaming tried something where, like, there was a diminishing returns if there were more than one ship that were overlapping, and the community backlash was immediate and angry as fuck, and they did not do it. Yes, there were a lot of things that were helpful. Good. Would you mind if I share that on YouTube? Cool. You heard there was a time overlapping AA dealt less damage. Yeah, they got rid of that. They had multiple iterations of AA. AA initially, they literally gamed out all of the fucking AA guns, guessed what amount of damage they could do, the firing rate of all that stuff, all of it, literally all of it. And they put it into the game, and people were upset. Well, if my gun only shoots every 5 seconds, what if the planes are only through my AA in 4? Then my gun didn't shoot me. I'm not protected. So, fuck. So they just changed it. So all guns do damage, even when they're not shooting. They just do damage. So if you deal 100 damage a second, you deal that 100 damage every 2/7 of a second. Tick, 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 tick. And there's no overlapping mitigation or anything. And originally they had this gun fires at this range, so it's effective here. This gun fires this range. Nope, fuck it. The closer you are, all the damage stacks. So the closer you are to an enemy, the more damage you take. No weird, this is long range, this is medium, this is, nah, fuck it. Closer, more.